This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everybody. If you're considering changing up your living space, getting a different look, whether it's changing a kitchen, upgrading it, or living room, different furniture, whatever it may be, sometimes it looks easy, but it's really not that easy if you want it to be done right and you want to have that feeling of walking into your home and feeling like this is the way it should be. Everything, all the pieces fit the way they should, or have that compliment when somebody says, this looks like it could be online or in a magazine. There's a lot more going on here when it comes to interior design. And part of that is universal design and sustainability. There's a lot going on here. Let's dig into it. She is the woman behind Diane Rosen Interiors. She's been doing this a long time, and we've talked about so much. We're going to dig into this one today with Diane. Welcome back. How you doing?
I am great. Thank you.
So I'm trying to process those words, universal design. Are we separating that from sustainability, or do they all go together?
They go together. And okay. I have been working that for the last 15 years in every project I attempt. Universal design is no longer a buzzword. It is very implicated into your home and understanding what you need. So if you are, for example, purchasing a home and this is to be your forever home, or even a starter home, those things that help you get in the door and use your bathroom, your kitchen, and all your utilities easily is what it all amounts to. I have my lead with U.S. Green Building Council, that is leadership in environmental and energy design. So in putting that together, I work with you to give you the most environmental sustainable home that you can enjoy for as long as you want to be there. And the initial part of universal design, or to me, the easiest example of it is today, there just virtually almost every mall in America has censored opening doors. That is a perfect example of universal design. You could be pushing a baby stroller. You may have purchased too many boxes and things to carry, and it's difficult to open the door. Well, as you approach, automatically the doors swing wide open for you. And that is a perfect example of universal design applying to everyone who is wanting to just make their life a bit easier.
I love those automatic door openers, or even for handicapped folks. Of course, when there's nobody around that needs to use the door, I like hitting that thing with my elbow. I'm not a germaphobe, but I don't have to touch the door or anything. And you know what? It's there. Yeah. They designed it. Use it.
Yeah,
Use it.
Exactly. And same with lighting. And that application in your home is fabulous. You can use indirect lighting, censored lighting, especially when you're just entering in a dark room, and the soft glow and where application is in a bathroom. I very often have put it under the cabinet, the bath cabinetry where your sink and so forth drawers are. So as you walk into the room, if it's too dark, you've got to always have a soft glow to guide you to your shower, to your bathtub, whatever you're needing.
Now, is sustainability all about caring about the environment to make sure that, we're doing the right thing there?
Yeah. The short answer is
okay.
Yeah. But it's applied to you personally. If you have asthma, if you have some kind of disability, your vision is off. I happen to have my best friend has a serious vision issue. And so we've applied and made different adjustments so it's easier for him to open the fridge door, even the light in the refrigerator. I've dimmed that down so it's comfortable for him. So you've got multiple ways to play this out. If paint on your walls, want to use VOC, take out the volatile organic chemicals that create that strong, pungent odor. Well, you can buy paint today that is practically zero free. So you can paint, and I do almost every month of the year. You don't have to wait because you want to open windows, open the door, just kind of get circulation. And I think one of the biggest issues too is even carpeting. It's not there's so many ways to play out the carpet, but it's not so the fibers in the carpet, it's the glue, which is formaldehyde. And it off gases for as long as you own that carpet. And today you can get that zero free. So the application to, if you do have any kind of, especially in the spring when you have so much asthma and you have so much congestion and pollen and so forth, it's terrific. It's such an easier fix for you.
That's a scary thought. Okay. That these materials are with us all the time, and we're breathing it in. We're ingesting all the stuff around us. We don't think about that. Even the new car smell, for example. You love that smell. It's fresh. It's new, but they've done research. Yeah, those are chemicals. You're smelling chemicals, just like,
Yeah, it is. And for better or worse, at least you can roll the windows down or put the AC on. But in your house, what can help you regardless if you do something or you don't do anything? I've there's 5 plants that can help you breathe. If you like any kind of indoor plant, or you really think you have, allergies or asthma, aloe vera eliminates as a plant in your house, eliminates emissions from most toxic materials. You can do chrysanthemums. They take out formaldehyde, benzene, and ammonia, and especially spider plants. You don't even have to do anything to help these plants, by the way, but they are exceptional for formaldehydes. My resource on this is the American Lung Association. So an easy fix to help clean up, your air in your environment. And most of these, if you water them once a week, that's more than enough.
Sure. And is there something we should intentionally be looking for, Diane, if we want to make sure the choices that we're making, be it the carpeting, the paint, any of the other materials are truly environmentally and in terms of health safe?
Today, things are labeled well.
Okay.
And on the backside of the carpet, you'll usually see the detail of how it's made, what it's made of, what the parts and pieces, and it's certified. If it's certified by Green Building Council, that would be established and stated, for example, on your carpet, whatever your selection is. And in paint, it will list if it is, it'll say VOC free, get those volatile organic chemicals are gone. And all the major companies, Sherwin-Williams and Benjamin Moore and so many others, carry this as a regular standard anymore. So everything should be very much detailed, so you know what you're buying, and that's the name of the game.
So if we're looking at that universal design, the sustainability and all of that, how about some other examples? Let's say whatever it may be. We talked about paint, carpeting. How about some of the other supplies, building materials that we can put that lens through?
We'll literally talk about glass.
Didn't
And
even think about that, Diane. Wow.
you've got today, if you're replacing windows, it is a huge advantage to do a low E gas panel. It can be cut, shaped, customized, whatever size you need. And what's the point of that? Well, it helps eliminate a lot of the sun rays coming through. There's no barrier. You still see a clear view out of the window. But it is with a low E gas temper to it. And it helps really, so you're not fading your immediate living room or floor or whatever. I'm not going to say eventually won't happen, because kind of that's what the sun does, especially if you're in a direct line of morning light or afternoon light. But low E gas on your glass is a great, I think mostly it's done almost as a standard today.
Wow. When you talk, I get visuals of where I lived and things I've done and projects and houses and building and all of that. And it takes me back to an extension I did on not the last house, the house before that. Pretty big room, pretty big extension.
Yeah.
And my goal was to get as much light in there with enough windows. So the architect who actually lived down the street and it was a friend, he designed it. And of course, you got the R factor, so you got to adhere to certain things. He took it right to the edge of the amount of windows around the room. And I was like, wow, it's great. All this light. It's fantastic. All right. Wasn't a good idea, because it was so at the level of the R level edge of it. The room was always cold in the wintertime. And it had a tile floor and big tiles. And all that did was radiate even more cold. So I tried to skirt the insulation value there to get the most light. Hey, fantastic. But I would have rather had that room be warmer. So I guess got to be mindful of that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, it's always a learning experience.
Yeah. Now, for sure.
Rather expensive. But in the, if you do have a large expanse of window, you definitely want to do a type of shade. And they can be motorized, especially if it's a large window, just to help eliminate some of that direct sun and direct heat or direct cold into your room, and they practically disappear. So the shade itself would practically disappear. So I would, if you've got large windows, which are beautiful and they're fun, and you feel like you're almost in the outdoors, the flip side to that is that you want to maintain an even temperature in your home, be it wintertime. You can have a light filtering shade. I'm not promoting any product in particular, but if it's big, do a motorized. They practically you can have them literally go behind a casement window or something. So I would recommend that for added protection.
That's another thing I just thought of here. Okay, so you have shades on your window. What happens? The sun comes through, hits the shade. That heat could potentially be activating chemicals within the shade. And now that is resonating within your home. This is the stuff I don't think of until you bring up the sustainability and safety issues.
Well, funny you should mention that. In the grand scale of what works best for your house, if indeed it's a shade and it's really large, get it motorized. But the material used to protect your window and the sun from literally burning out your floor or your furniture, there are products out there that will have will have the right fiber, let's put it that way, to make that shade. So once again, it's just a case of doing some research on what you need best, uh, where you need to go. And all the major companies do carry this stuff too. So,
Mm,
you know, it is not hard to, you can even go to one of the big box stores.
sure.
Um, it's depends on cost. They're not inexpensive that way, but they're tempered for use. They're tempered for heat, they're tempered for cold. And yeah, they're a little bit more expensive, but then you're done and you're saving your floor, your carpet, your
Mm,
furniture.
mm.
In the long term, what's the value? Where's the value? Mm-hmm.
The last house I moved into, they had redone it, and a lot of the materials they used came from a big box store. And over time, and not even a lot of time, I moved in probably a year
Mm-hmm.
after they did it, and I would say probably around 6 years into it, I noticed some issues with the quality of those materials. Not not being negative here, but we, back to
Uh-huh.
you get what you pay for. You know, it even right down to the
Yeah.
cabinets. You know, then they stop
Yeah.
fluidly working. Where insert name of major cabinet manufacturer, not one from the big box store, they're going to last 20 years. They're going to be, you know, they're designed that way. So it's kind of what you're getting what you're paying for,
Uh-huh.
and that's you have a choice. We have a choice in everything. What else
Exactly.
should we look at in terms of uh, when it comes
Well,
to
that
the
always,
universal design?
once again, what it amounts to is in the beginning, you want to have a plan. You want to have a plan that fits your budget. And briefly, just going through the fact of what are your needs? Do you have any disabilities? Is there anybody with their mobility issues? Look, and this is what I do a lot of research, and this is a lot of time spent on focusing on your home for your space and your budget. And nothing today, and I'll be very candid, it's not inexpensive. However, what we just discussed about the shades, long term, the value is there. So if the if what you want,
Mm,
and I offer options of A, B, and C, and you select, we don't have to do everything all at once. We can do it in uh, separate chunks of time because I want you to be comfortable with your budget. And but in placement, we'll have it. So that's the long time. And if when indeed you ever decide to move, your ROI is already in place,
mm.
return on investment.
Um, I don't know if we've ever talked about that. The designing, uh, the time you plan on staying there.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there a rule of thumb? Like, if you're going to stay, well, yeah, we're going to be here at least 5 years. Or if you're thinking, yeah, maybe 3 to 5, we might be selling, but we're not 100% sure. Is there something that a rule of thumb in terms of what you're designing and, but what your outcome is going to be? You're going to be there for a long time, or you're thinking about selling in a number of years?
Very individual.
Mm,
Um, there is so much that is worked at home. So office space is still, you know, where you're traveling or you're going to be moving to another state in 5 years or whatever your particular employment happens to be at the time.
sure.
Um, yeah, you want to make it comfortable for yourself. But I will offer the most, not to be the most trendy, but to be the most acceptable that will still work for you and give you your return on investment futuristically. If it is your forever home, which I really enjoy working with, same principles apply. You want to give them the best. This is what they have in a budget. Okay, this is what we can do for now. We can accomplish this, but let's bank it out. So when you're comfortable to proceed with the rest of it, we'll take care of it. And we know where you're at.
So
So I guess,
what if you
go
have
ahead.
this vision of, yeah, a kitchen with funky colors, and that's kind of your thing? Um, might not be for resale. Is there a number of years that you should look at? Like, let's say you might say to your client, "Are you thinking about being here for at least 5 years?" Yes, I really love those colors. Let's get crazy. I want bright orange in my kitchen. Whatever floats your boat. Is there a rule of thumb in terms of the number of years that you should consider uh, for longevity and also resale?
Yeah. Um, Colors and color palettes usually last, a quote, the most trendy types, a good 5 to 10 years. We've talked about previously about color,
Hmm.
and for the good news is color is back, and but the neutrals of grays and every shade of gray has been most popular from the mid 90s to almost a good 10 to 15 years.
Mm.
So yeah, I would say if this is your home, this is what you want, understand possibly you may need to, if you think you're going to be moving and get that promotion and move out of state, just be sure you understand the story. And
Mm.
yeah, you'd probably have to repaint walls. When it comes to countertops and cabinetry, that's completely up to them, because my project or my uh, vision for them is their vision. Yeah.
I would imagine that's all part of the process when somebody works with you, Diane, that you have to go on your fact-finding mission, see what's in
Uh-huh.
their head. We don't think like designers. I buy windows, I'll buy carpeting. I'm not even thinking about all the other considerations, but you know what?
Uh-huh.
We need to. It's a big investment, right?
Well, it is, and you want to be comfortable, and that's my whole game plan for every client
Mm.
is let's talk about your vision, let's talk about how we're going to do it, let's talk about your budget, and let's anchor it in a time frame that is realistic. So they know exactly how long it takes to get from point A to point B or accomplish. Just let's just do the bathroom. Okay, it's going to cost X amount of dollars. And that is a perfect place for universal design. Zero
Oh,
entry showers.
mm,
What zero entry is, at the most, have a lip entering the shower area,
sure.
1.5 inches, sometimes 2 inches at the most. Make it easy. And I worked with a gal who is in a wheelchair. You widen your doors. Universal design, you want to be able to really literally, if you're in a chair, by the way, they're not so bulky anymore. There's so many streamlined automated chairs
Mm.
that make life so much easier for those who need them. But anyway, you want a door entry that's 42 wide. That gives you plenty of room to come in and out. You want to have a bathroom if you can. Sometimes I've knocked down a wall that you can go in and be able to do a complete, if you had to do a complete circle in a wheelchair, you need
Mm.
5 feet
Wow.
as a comfort level. And your opening to your shower is hopefully zero entry, meaning it's pretty flat. And the way the drains are, I've done this for, gosh, my first one was about 15, 16 years ago. And we laid out the floor of the shower. So, you're thinking, oh my gosh, where's all this water going to go? Um, and it is just a gentle, slight pitch and edged on the sides of the shower. So the water flows directly into a drain, a side drain and a back drain. And very comfortable, very comfortable. But
I love the way you think. Is you think with strategy as a designer? Because my head is blown right now. I'm like, what? I just want a bathroom and I want one that's comfortable. But
uh,
this is the stuff. And here's the other thing: you're not typically going to get this from a contractor. You hire somebody to come in, Yeah, hey, I want to redo the bathroom, retile it. I'm going to make it, open entry shower and all of that. They're not going to give you those little nuances. It's basically tell them what you want. They'll do it. I don't know what I want. I'm not a designer. That's you. It's Diane, RosenInteriors.com, right?
Right.
Yeah. Thank you for today. This is all the stuff that you need to consider. But again, we're not wired like you, so we don't think that way. And you can do this virtually for anybody anywhere too, right?
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Thank you for being here today, Diane. Really appreciate it.
Well, always a pleasure.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.